What's up guys, it's me, Jeremy. Over the next couple days we're going to be taking a look at all of the preseason changes, and I'll be going through and giving you my thoughts as well as the rundown of what's going on because it's some crazy action that's going to happen in Season 6. This video we're going to be focusing on the Masteries and the new Keystone Masteries, and let's jump right into it. I want to keep this video under 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to run through these fairly quickly. Anyways, we got these three new mastery trees. We got Resolve, which is a little bit of a mix of utility and some defense. It's mostly on the defensive end though. Cunning, which is a little bit of a mix of utility and a little bit of offense mixed in, but it's mostly on the utility end. And then Ferocity, which seems to be completely offense oriented. So the interesting thing about the masteries here now is that the way the tiers are structured is quite different. As you can see here, you can put 5 points into one of the two options, but you can't actually put 5 points into both. You have to put 5 points in the first tier, and that's it. That's all you get is those 5 points. And then you can only select one of the two, or later down in the tree, 3 options. So you have a tiered structure where you have one of two choices where you can put 5 points in, and then you get 1 point that puts into something that's a little bit more impactful, and then another tier, and then another 5 points, and then you finally get your Keystone Mastery at the end that does a bunch of really cool stuff. Overall, I like the new Mastery system a lot. I think it's a lot more impactful, feels a lot better. It isn't too much of like, oh, you know, 1% extra armor, like something really small and minuscule that you're not going to notice. These masteries are going to have an impact. You're going to notice them, and let's go through them. So first off, in the Resolve tree, we got Recovery. It's just very simple. We already have this mastery in the game right now, 2 health regen. And then Unyielding is going to give you bonus armor and magic resistance. And then after that, you can pick between either Explore or Tough Skin. You got your 12 movement speed in the bush or in the river. Or you have your Tough Skin, which is 2 less damage from champion and monster basic attacks. Now, it's interesting that it's both champion and monster attacks, so it looks like that's a nice tank option, and this is the more utility, someone like Nidalee maybe. And then we have Runic Armor, 8% bonus to all shields and healing on you, includes lifesteal and regeneration, as well as Veteran Scars, which is 4% total health. Next up, we got Insight, your summoner spells, 15% reduced cooldown, good mastery. Perseverance, 50% health regen, increased to 200% when below 20% health. 200% is quite high, so looks like that mastery might have a lot of situations on certain champions. And then next up, we got Swiftness, 15% tenacity and slow resist is pretty big. It's been combined from a couple of the other masteries in this current defense tree. And then we have Legendary Guardian, 2 armor and magic resistance for each nearby enemy champion. Looks like that can be a maximum of 8 armor and magic resistance. And then we have the Keystone Masteries for the Resolve tree. Grasp of the Unyielding, every 4 seconds in combat, your next attack against an enemy champion steals life equal to 3% of your max health. So this is a huge, very strong mastery for duelers, skirmishers, that kind of stuff. Champions that are going to be fighting a lot, as well as maybe if you're just looking to pick up a little bit more sustain in your build, you could combo this with something like Perseverance and Recovery for some more sustain. And then Strength of the Ages is a really interesting one. So this is a mastery that gives you up to potentially 300 health or more. Siege minions and large monsters that you or nearby allies kill grant you 20 and 10 permanent health respectively, 300 max, so you get 300 permanent health after you stack it up, and then after reaching the max bonus, further nearby siege minions restore 100 health. And then Bond of Stone, 4% damage reduction. 4% damage reduction is quite significant, so it's definitely an impactful mastery. And when you're near an ally, the bonus is doubled, so potentially a very strong mastery for maybe a tank support. And then 8% of the damage they would take from champions is dealt to you instead, but it can't reduce you below 15% health. So now let's take a look at the Cunning tree. We got Wanderer, very standard stuff. We already got that in the game. Savagery, it's a little bit more amped up of what we got in the game right now. It's going to give you 5 bonus damage. And then after that, you can take Runic Affinity. Simple, we got that in the game already. Secret Stash, this is just the Biscuit Mastery, renamed into Secret Stash for some reason. They're trying to be edgy or something. Merciless, that's your Execute passive, or the Execute Mastery going on there. It's a little bit stronger. Instead of 3%, it's going to be 5%. Because you get your 5 points. And then Meditation, this one's a little interesting. Once every 5 seconds, regenerate 1.5% of your missing mana. So it's going to give you like a nice boost instead of a very slow passive regeneration. So you're going to feel the effect of this mastery a lot more because it's going to be a lot more active. It's going to give you a boost every 5 seconds rather than just passive regen. Then you got your Bandit Mastery. We got that in the game already. Dangerous Game in the Cunning tree. It's interesting that it's in the Cunning tree, not the Ferocity tree, but that potentially gives a lot of options. As well, something to mention is that you get 18 points into one tree and 12 points into another tree. So you get 1 Keystone Mastery and 1 secondary tier. So you can go 18 into Ferocity and still get Dangerous Game. Then you have Precision, 3 plus 0.3 per level armor and magic pen. This is gonna be, I believe, I think it's 8.4. Let's just check right here really quick. So 0.3 times 18, 5.4 plus 3, so yeah, like I said, 8.4 armor and magic penetration, as well as you got your intelligence. This mastery is actually really interesting. Increases the cooldown reduction cap by 5% and also gives you 5% cooldown reduction, so you could potentially get 45% CDR with this mastery. That's an interesting addition, could potentially open up some new strategies and stuff. We'll have to theorycraft a little bit with that one. And then we got the Keystone Masteries for the Cunning Tree. Storm Raider's Surge, dealing 30% of a champion's max health within 2 seconds, grants you 35% movement speed for 3 seconds, so potentially a strong mastery for maybe a burst damage champion. Someone like Annie, you could burst someone down and then just run away with that bonus movement speed, something like that. I'm not sure if this is the best for Annie, but you kind of get the idea. Burst damage champions, this is going to be a pretty strong stuff. Thunderlord's Decree, your third attack or spell on an enemy champion shocks the area around them, dealing 10 damage per level, plus 20% of your bonus attack damage and 10% of your ability power as magic damage to enemies in the area. So it looks like it's a area of effect damage kind of thing. It's going to give you a little bit more damage overall. If you're maybe like someone like an auto attacker, looks like a good hybrid mastery for someone like maybe Kale, Jax kind of thing. It's going to be pretty strong, do a lot of damage. Windspeaker's Blessing, it's a great support mastery here. Your heals and shields are 10% stronger. Additionally, your shields and heals increase your target's resistances by 15% for 3 seconds when used on an ally other than yourself. So that's very strong if you're shielding a tank. Good stuff, maybe like Janna, Karma kind of stuff. Shields and heals, great support mastery right there. And then we have the Frosty Tree. Last up, we got our attack speed. Or Sorcery, this is a new one, 2% increased ability and spell damage instead of CDR. So the CDR you're going to get from Intelligence of the Mastery, and then Sorcery, you're going to get 2% ability and spell damage. 2% damage is, you know, reasonably decent, I guess. It's definitely impactful. It's going to, maybe might let you come out on top in a lot more situations. You got your double-edged sword. It's a little bit more impactful than the current double-edged sword. You're going to do 3% damage and take only 1.5% of your melee, whereas if you're ranged, you're going to be 2 and 2. Feast, I think this is a great change. It's a lot more impactful. It's going to feel a lot better than the current Feast mastery in the game. Killing a unit restores 20 health, but it's going to be on a cooldown. I'm not sure how that matches up to the current mastery. It looks like, at least in lane, you have 6 or 7 creeps per wave. So it looks like it's probably going to be more health now than the current version of Feast that's in the game, and I like this change a lot. I think this is exactly what the direction that Riot wanted to take with the Masteries. This is the kind of change. It's a very good example. They took something that was, you know, you get 1 health back per unit kill, 2 health, and something like that. Very small, doesn't really feel like anything, and they made it into this big thing that, okay, you're going to feel this, Mastery in the game, you're going to notice its effect, and it's going to affect your playstyle and your builds and stuff. We got Vampirism, 2% lifesteal and spell vamp, very standard stuff. And then Natural Talent, this one's interesting. They made it a little bit more hybrid, 10 AD and AP. So they put the level, this is the scaling AD and AP, but they put it on the same mastery. So that's a pretty interesting one. Considering you have to take either lifesteal and spell vamp or AD and AP, it's going to potentially open up a lot of hybrid builds. And you're going to have, you randomly might have some, you know, some random AP on a lot of champions that you're trying to take scaling AD on for some reason. And then we got Bounty Hunter. You deal 1% increased damage for each unique champion you kill. This mastery is awesome, but it is each unique champion, so you're going to get a maximum of 5% increased damage. But if you can't actually stack it up, get that 5%, that's crazy. 5% increased damage from just a second tier mastery is insane, but you do have to stack it up. So this could potentially open up to a lot of builds and a lot of interesting scenarios. Then you have Oppressor, deal 2.5% increased damage to targets with impaired movement. It's kind of in the game already. Standard stuff. Then we got Piercing Thoughts, 7% Magic Pen, or Battering Blows, 7% Armor Pen. You get to decide between the two. And then we got the Keystone Masteries for the Ferocity Tree. You got Warlord's Bloodlust, Critical Strike Seal for 15% of the damage dealt and grant you 20% attack speed for 4 seconds. This mastery is ginormous. Totally insane on 80 carries. Critical Strikes healing you for 14% of the damage dealt. That is ridiculous. It's going to give you a ton of lifesteal on 80 carries. Very strong mastery here. Fervor of Battle. Your basic attacks and spell grant you a stack of Fervor for 5 seconds. Each stack of Fervor adds 1 to 8 bonus physical damage to your basic attacks against champions based on your level. So it looks like it's going to be a maximum of 80 bonus physical damage. This mastery I think is actually potentially a little bit overrated. Having to stack it up, taking 10 attacks, you know, it's going to take a very long time to stack up. Not really that impactful, and is something that potentially could be overrated or at least used a little bit more often than it should. I don't actually think this mastery is that good. Last up on the list, we got Deathfire Touch. Your damaging abilities cause enemy champions to take 6 plus 50% of your bonus attack damage and 20% of your ability power in magic damage over 3 seconds. Area effect and damage over time abilities apply half of the damage, of course, over 1.5 seconds instead. So it gives you a nice little burst extra on your magic abilities. This is going to be the mastery you want to take for AP champions, burst damages, mages, that kind of stuff, because it's going to give you a little bit more damage. 20% of your ability power over 3 seconds could potentially be, you know, sometimes as much as 100 damage, and that's reasonably significant in a lot of scenarios, especially if you're trying to get that one-shot burst combo on an enemy target. Anyways, that's it for the Keystone Masteries. I really like this new mastery system. I'm very excited with the changes that Riot's making for Season 6. That's going to be it, everybody. I'll keep you updated with some of the other changes. We're doing videos every day now, so I'll definitely have loads of time to cover everything. It's going to be awesome. Check it out, and thanks for watching.